Hey, truth seekers, welcome back. Zach here. It's August 8th, 2016. CNN's top story: Trump unveils tax plan. If you're new to my channel, I am exposing how Donald Trump is nothing more than a stooge actor going before the media, lying to the people of the nation, and delivering messages, stories that are scripted for him to read by the numbers. What I mean when I say by the numbers is the language of gematria. The language of gematria is the practice of coding numbers into words. It is very important to the Jewish people. The Zionist Jews who control the media, they practice something called Kabbalah. Kabbalah is Jewish mysticism. It has to do with numerology, numbers, gematria, as I'm showing you. Today's August 8th, 8/8. Trump is unveiling his tax plan. Trump unveiling his tax plan on August 8th. You know, last week I did a story showing why Donald Trump got a Purple Heart on August 2nd, another story by the numbers. For more than a year, going back to the time Donald Trump announced his campaign, I've been exposing how every story, every headline is contrived propaganda by the numbers, which isn't unique to the story of Donald Trump. It is a practice, a religion by the Zionists who rule and run the media and everything that they program through it. With regards to the media, they often say, back to your regularly scheduled programming. The media is a programming tool, and it programs people with poison, which Donald Trump fits right into. Donald Trump often making racist remarks, hateful remarks, divisive remarks, and at the same time, lying to people. Right now, he has a big following that doesn't realize he's just an actor stooge selling them out. Speaking of selling them out, let's take a look at Donald Trump unveiling his tax plan. Here we go.
Back to basics.
We need to stop believing in politicians and start believing in our great country.
Donald Trump delivered a detailed economic policy speech, but his goal seemed to be more fundamental, reminding voters that he's an outsider eager to disrupt a broken system.
Our party has chosen to make new history by selecting a nominee from the outside, and that's outside of the very, very already proven rigged system.
So just think about what he's saying there. He's calling himself an outsider. Who is Donald Trump really? Somebody born into the rich establishment class, who the politicians represent. Typically, it's a politician who works for the establishment class. In this case, we just get one that's directly from it. Donald Trump, born with a silver spoon in his mouth, never had to work a day in his life, been rich from the beginning, used the system, used to bail out his poor projects with taxpayer dollars by claiming bankruptcy. That's why these rich tycoons say America's great, because they don't have to do anything. They live on the backs of the working class who pay the taxes. America's not a great place. Most of us were born into poor conditions. We go to lousy schools. We have our time stolen from us. We're lied to our whole lives. We're put through these fake spectacles, told we're free, told we have a democracy. Not even close.
Trump made sure to re-up his core anti-trade populist messages his campaign believes could play well in places like hard-hit Michigan.
American cars will travel the roads.
Listen to him talk about American cars. This is a businessman that does all of his business, using Chinese labor. He's no different than a politician. Lip service, no action. It's like Americans don't know that phrase, actions speak louder than words. I notice most Americans, they're taken up with words. They don't even need to see any action. They're just looking for who delivers the words the way they like them. A nation of fools.
Planes will connect our cities, and American ships will patrol the seas.
But he also used his speech to the Detroit Economic Club business people to talk tax cuts and court college-educated, wealthier GOP voters that polls show Trump may be at risk of losing.
We're reducing your taxes from 35% to 15%.
That's a 15% cap on taxes for businesses. He's also proposing a moratorium on new business regulations and renegotiating NAFTA. Trump even dumped his own tax reform proposal, wiped it from his website, and adopted the House Republican plan.
My plan will reduce the current number of brackets from 7 to 3 and dramatically streamline the process.
And he warned GOP voters considering voting for Hillary Clinton about her plans.
Hillary Clinton, who has spent her career voting for tax increases, plans another massive job-killing $1.3 trillion tax increase.
Before he even spoke, the Clinton campaign released a web video trashing Trump's plans.
I would borrow knowing that if the economy crashed, you could make a deal.
CNN's poll of polls shows Clinton with a whopping 10-point lead over Trump. To turn that around, Trump has to bring college-educated women
I want to go back to that percentage. Look at what the percentages are up here. 49 to 39. Add them together. What do you get? 88 on August 8th, Trump Day. Also, these numbers are significant. Revelation equals 49, the book of prophecy. If you haven't seen my work on Hillary Clinton and the Democratic Convention, why it was in Philadelphia the day it started, you got to check that out. It all goes back to Revelation, where the city of Philadelphia is named from. Revelation's based on the 39 books of the Old Testament that the Zionists go by, who run the show. Donald Trump, Hillary Clinton, you look at who runs their campaigns, none other than Zionists on both sides. Let's continue.
10-point lead over Trump. To turn that around, Trump has to bring college-educated women back into his column. He hopes his new tax break for childcare, developed with his daughter Ivanka, will help.
Reduce the cost of childcare by allowing parents to fully deduct the average cost of childcare spending from their taxes.
Still, one of the most noteworthy parts of Trump's speech was what he didn't say. No insults.
So you guys realize that what he's proposing are major tax cuts for the top and then things like that you can deduct your expenses, if you're a working class family, for your children from your taxes. That's essentially a very small savings. To write that off, it's just going to save you a small percentage. Most working people, what they need is an entire break from income tax. The poor people of this nation should not be paying income tax. We live in a nation of these corporations that are raking in, more money than the rest of us have combined. They can pay these taxes. They're the ones who benefit from this system anyway. The roads are here for them and their trucks and all their transportation and commerce. Donald Trump's going to do what the Republicans always do, shift more and more of the tax burden to the poor people. That's what the history of Republican tax cuts are. Usually the poor end up paying more between all the other fees that get made to offset.
For protesters, even though he was interrupted 14 times, he bit his tongue, except for this.
The Bernie Sanders people had far more energy and spirit, I will say that.
All right, so more Trump by the numbers. Finally, at least he talks about something besides his wall. That was the only plan he had before. While we're at it, let's also tackle this other top story. Boy dies on slide at water park. This is the son of a Republican politician in Kansas who just turned 44 years old. Show you this. Right now, if you turn on your mainstream news, they're showing the footage of the water slide. It's the big story. They keep showing a camera go down the water slide. I flipped through 3 different news channels. They were all showing it. And what I noticed is the entire slide is covered. So I don't know how you could fall out of a water slide that's completely covered as this one is. If this child really died, it wasn't from this water slide. It was a ritual sacrifice. I'm going to show you everything that's interesting here. The key words are Kansas City, Kansas, and water park. The father just turned 44 years old, this congressman in Kansas whose son died, supposedly at the water park. Water slide in gematria sums to 44. They're saying the child fell off the water slide that's 170 feet tall, tallest water slide in the world. But again, it's completely enclosed, so I don't know how you could possibly fall out of it. Water Park in Gematria also has the same gematria as Kansas. Water Park also has 113 coded into it. The words mainstream, dishonest, both sum to 113. In Bava Kama 113a, it says it's okay for people who are Jewish to lie to people who aren't. It's the Zionist Jews who control your media and code 113 into all these dishonest stories. I'll just show you this real quick. Water Park 113, mainstream 113, dishonest 113, perjury, Bava Kama 113a. So these are our important numbers here. Water slide again sums to 44 like kill. How old the father is. This happened in Kansas City, Kansas, gematria of 187, oftentimes the homicide code. A parallel on that, I want to show you something. The name George Washington in gematria sums to 187, the big way, and the small way, 88. This story comes on August 8th. Talk about the connection to 88 with the congressman who lost his son, as reported. With regards to Donald Trump, the GOP convention began July 18th, a date written 18/7, exactly 187 days before Inauguration Day. And I'm pretty sure what the riddle is George Washington's the first recognized president, the 33rd degree Master Mason? Hillary Clinton will be the first female president. Donald Trump is running to get her there. I'm pretty sure that's what the riddle is. Also, for the GOP convention, you might remember that Donald Trump came out to Queen, We Are the Champions. That was exactly 88 days after Queen Elizabeth's birthday. At the Democratic convention, they had Elizabeth Banks come out and mock Donald Trump's Queen introduction. Again, Trump equals 88, Queen as in Queen Elizabeth, Elizabeth 88. 88 days after her birthday, he comes out to Queen. The reason for these tributes is because our entire U.S. history is a farce. Donald Trump's, his family's from Scotland, his mother, the UK. Think about how the United States, the United Kingdom, the history of our nation, the supposed separation, July 4th, 1776. All of this is part of the false narrative that we've been living out. Everything about this nation is a lie. Our entire history is false. What we are is an enslaved people living under a true dictatorship that's run by banker tyrants connected to the royal family and so much more. This is the network that rules over us. So that's why there's this tribute to the Queen. 187, though, also connected to death, and there's been a lot of foreshadowing that there might be an assassination on Trump. They keep comparing him to George Wallace, who was assassinated 44 years ago on the campaign trail. He lived, but he was paralyzed from that. It ended his run for the presidency. George Wallace, 44 years ago, 1972. Done a lot of work on that if you want to go back and watch the older videos. His son was supposedly injured yesterday, August 7th, a date with 51 numerology. Conspiracy equals 51, so does federal. He's a member of the federal government. It happened on a Sunday. Sunday has gematria of 84, just like Jesuit, the secret society within the Catholic Church. It's the Catholic Church who pushed the day of worship to Sunday, day about worshiping the Son, Jesus, the Son of God. United States of America also has that gematria of 84. Lincoln was assassinated by that number. The president who saved the Union. This congressman from Kansas, the last union to join the nation before the Civil War, the 34th state. Here's the man who just lost his son, reportedly from a water slide. He just turned 44, July 9th, born in 72. Dear George Wallace was shot 44 years ago. His name, Scott Schwab, in gematria sums to 133, just like Bernie Sanders. So many government agents have this 133 coding. Bernie Sanders is part of the show too. Sorry to break your hearts, people. All of these people are fraud sellouts playing their part in the grand deception. They have to appeal to different minds. They get different types of sellouts to get different types of people to buy into the system. Look at all the people trying to vote for Bernie Sanders. You know, I went to his rallies. I told people in person, it's all a farce. Wake up, your elections are rigged. They'll never let Bernie Sanders be the president. Plus, just pay attention to the things he says. He says a lot of things that are agreeable, but he also talks about the major lies, such as ISIS, Al-Qaeda, the false boogeymen that keep the war for profit tyranny going that he speaks out against, shows you that he's not really against it. If Bernie Sanders really wanted to stop the wrongdoing, he'd be exposing the Zionist Jews, which he's one of, from their Mecca, Chicago, class of 64, Israel 64, Zion 64, Thelema 64. No, Bernie Sanders is part of what he speaks out against. That's what's so sick. So many frauds in this world are that way. Donald Trump himself, pretending to be something he's not. Scott Schwab, the small way, also sums to 34. And the reason that's interesting is because it's Kansas, the 34th state, the last to join the Union before the Civil War. His birthday is July 9th, 7/9. Look at the words murder. 79 the big way, 34 the small way. His son in a suspicious death, a suspicious amount of days after his birthday. His birthday produces numerology of 107, 35, Catholic equals 35, JFK, the only Catholic president, the 35th Catholic Jesuit order. I don't know if this man's Catholic, perhaps he is. A lot of Catholics in Congress. Anyhow, also a date with 88 numerology, and on August 8th, the news is the death of his son. From his birthday to the death of his son is 29 days. Kansas in gematria sums to 29. You know? A lot of times to maintain your celebrity position in this world, athlete, actor, musician, politician, the things that are on TV, a lot of times to maintain that status, you have to give up a loved one, a mother, a father, a wife, a husband, a child. A lot of times you have to give up multiple people over the course of your life. See my work on Michael Jordan and a lot of these other entertainers. All these people who die around these celebrities, they die by the numbers. Everything's run by the numbers. The news headlines are scripted by the numbers. The murders in the media are by the numbers. It's because the same gang is responsible for it all. The Kabbalah practicing Zionist Jews who have a stranglehold on this world, only because we the people are not confronting what is so obvious, what is so apparent, what is so in our face, what is so shoved down our throats. Until next time, Truth Seekers.